Moving to item 14, Regenerate Christchurch, the performance report for the quarter 1st January to 31st of March 2018. And Ivan and Jason, welcome to the table. So this report obviously has gone through the Finance and Performance Committee. Are there any remarks that you wanted to make about this report as we move into the discussion today?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, councillors. So, if I take the report as read, a couple of verbal updates in addition to what was reported in the quarterly report. So, as most of you will be aware, we launched the Red Zone Futures exhibition on the 26th of May. It has been open for almost 5 weeks and it closes this week on Saturday. It's an opportunity for people to give us feedback on the refined shortlist that the board decided in April. To date, we've had over 7,000 people who have come to the central exhibition and provide us with feedback. Generally, overwhelming support for the proposed land uses, and in particular the green spine and the uses included within the green spine. We've also had a travelling exhibition which has gone to shopping malls, council libraries and service centres and sports fields, and that has continued right up until this week. And in addition, we've held a number of workshops with groups within the population that aren't generally well represented in public engagement. Once the engagement closes this week on Saturday, we'll then be assessing all of the feedback that we have received, and we've received lots in different forms, and we'll be presenting that to the board for them to make any decisions on the final set of land uses before the plan is sent to Section 29 parties, including the council, for you to provide formal feedback and comment. In terms of moving to phase 2 of developing a regeneration strategy for South Shore and South New Brighton, so following a recent presentation that Council Laws received from the HOW team and Regenerate Christchurch and council staff, we are now moving to phase 2, which includes establishing a physical presence within South Shore and South New Brighton to provide an opportunity for people to drop in, to have conversations, to access information ahead of implementing the engagement plan that was developed by the HOW team. And that'll be starting within the next couple of weeks. Recently we published the vision for Cathedral Square. It's had a lot of response, very interesting responses from different parts of the community. And we're now going to be working with council staff to develop a delivery strategy to look at what can be delivered and when. Finally, we are finalising the advice to provide to council by the end of June. I'm conscious that today is the Thursday before the end of June, so we're working to provide this to you by the end of the week, which evaluates progress in the central city and provides advice for the council and for the Crown to consider in terms of increasing momentum within the central city. The board was very pleased to receive from the council a draft proposal for the use of powers under Section 71 of the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Act to enable the development of a sports facility in Yaldhurst. Regenerate Christchurch provided its views on that and looks forward to receiving it from the council once those views have been considered by the council, I understand, in September. So that's a brief overview of highlights, I guess you could say, since the report was tabled. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ivan? Aaron and then Yanni. Aaron.
Just a number of us have received emails, Ivan, you're probably aware of, around the East Lake proposal in that group, and then of course they've done their proposal. So the question would be, is there any consideration, given that feedback, to that proposal in that group going forward?
Yeah, sure. So what we are doing at the moment is seeking feedback on the refined shortlist that has been published. The intention is to consider all of the feedback. And then the board will make a subsequent decision, so there is an opportunity for the board to consider all of that feedback and confirm the final set of land uses that they will include in the regeneration plan. We then submit that formally to Section 29 parties, including any changes or amendments the board wishes to make. Once we have received your feedback and the feedback of other Section 29 parties, the board will make a final consideration and then submit the plan to administer.
So can you confirm that even those unsolicited bids like theirs and any others that may come in are listened to?
Yeah, we're considering and assessing all of the feedback that we've received, absolutely.
Thank you. Yanni.
Thank you. I was just interested in the timing and the release of the Central City advice. Is that going to all of us on Friday, or how are we receiving it? And obviously, I think previously I was kind of keen to get it before we finalised our LTP, which is now not possible. So are you able just to talk us through the process for us receiving and reacting to that advice,
Sure.
what the current plan is?
Yeah, thanks, Yanni. So it's the board's intention to provide for you draft advice for discussion. It's advice to the council and the Crown, so it's not our intention at this stage to make that advice publicly available. What we'd like to do is share it with you, and then later in June, once your staff have had an opportunity to work through that advice and provide you with their own advice, for us to meet with you probably in the 3rd or 4th week of July and discuss the advice that we've provided, including the recommendations.
So is there any sort of financial implications for us?
There are a range of options for you to consider, but the primary driver for us isn't to suggest that either party injects a large sum of additional funding. There are a number of other levers and mechanisms that we believe are available to the Crown and the Council to consider.
I mean, maybe it's a question of staff, how we integrate that into the recent decisions we've just made around, you know, Central City parking, rates rebates, DCs rebates.
So, Yanni, perhaps if I could suggest, because the advice is, you know, it is being finalised at the moment, there are a number of final matters that the board is considering before we submit it to you. It is being provided to you for discussion. So I'd suggest that once you've received it and then your staff have had a chance to have a look at it and provide you with advice, that there is a discussion for us to have with the councillors in July.
Yeah, let's receive the advice first, and then, you know, from there we can work out what the implications of it are and what further decisions that there are that might flow on from that. Yep. Thank you. Any further questions? All right, so we've got a resolution in front of us to receive the report, which I'm happy to move. Do I have a seconder? Aaron? All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much indeed for the input this morning. Thank you.